have to think of the mouth as an opening in the face. So what I'm doing here, I'm basically slicing open here to just give me the lower lip, and then I'm going to curl the upper lip. You have 5 planes involved for the upper lip. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and actually you have another one here. It's the junction of these planes that give the definition of the lips. It will be the same thing for the lower lip. This is a little bit too thick for a man, so if you want to thin it, it's easy enough to just go around and move it like this. I want more volume on the upper lip, so I take a little bit of clay like this on my tool and I put it on. Same in the center. And then I define this line, the center. This area over the lip is convex, not concave. This is going that way and not this way. A little bit more chin. There is a certain bulkiness here on each side of the mouth. This is the result of the conjunction of all these muscles, the zygomatic major and minor, risorius, that gets all connected here around the orbicularis oris. I don't want the lips to be too fat, so I'm thinning them by just reducing the thickness by just pushing the upper part and the lower part here. The corner of the mouth is fairly deep, and this curls in, kind of tucked in at the corners. Of the eyes is very important for the likeness. There are some landmarks that you can use, and some of them you have to create. For example, if I'm not sure, I'm creating 2 vertical lines going from the nostrils up, and I will adjust my eye depending on the model from these lines. The second landmark is going to be your nasal bone. The distance from here to the surface of the eyeball will determine the depth of the eye. The first thing to do once you have your landmark is to define the surrounding of the eye. So if you need a little bit more volume here, or even underneath, add your clay. Here I know that my model's eye goes a little bit further than the line here, so I'm going to just mark it. Now I will take 2 pieces of clay and make 2 balls and elongate them to the shape of an olive and set them in the eye socket. Put some pressure. Then I will come with my tool, and the first thing is to give the shape of the interior of the eye, the interior of the eyelid, following of course your model. Then, once I'm satisfied with the shape, I'm going to use this to do the volume of the eyelid. Lower eyelid. Upper eyelid. And it gives me the basic eye. There is more work to be done, but I can check the placement, the depth from the profile, and the angle of the eyelid. One of the features of the eyes that you can check to make sure that your eyes doesn't look too feminine is add some angles here, some planes. This would be straight line, straight line, straight line, and the interior would be round. Here you can go down and up in the corner with a little bit more planes that you would usually do for a woman. Then make sure that this is not too high, maybe lower it a little bit. I'm going to add a little bit of clay right here. Define the lower eyelid. Now, the eyelid is the same thickness all along the eye. So you don't want more thickness at any point. Sometimes in the very corner it gets deeper, but that's it. The inner part of the eye is lower than the outside corner. Also in profile, the lower part of the eye is recessed from the higher part, meaning that there is an angle from the upper eyelid to the lower eyelid. To indicate the iris for clear eyes, I use just a shallow groove. And for the pupil, just a half a circle. The darker the eyes and the deeper those grooves are. Now with a little bit of water and a sponge, I will go around all over the piece, kind of bring the features together. The mouth of this model is a little bit more round than the Caucasian. It's often the case in Asian people. And they also have a little bit more volume. So I will start the mouth a little bit differently. I'm gonna add some volume up here. I'll go one here. Just to shape the upper lip. I'm adding volume also on the lower lip. And I am pushing the corners a little bit deeper too. A little bit of clay here. For the eyes of this Asian model, we're going to simplify and fill up the eye socket completely. Instead of putting a ball in it, I'm just filling it in all the way to the corner. And I will give the shape directly in the volume. I'll push in very deep. And in the very corner, I'm going to cut the upper eyelid goes over the lower eyelid. Here again, I'm going to try to find some planes, meaning some straight lines. From here to here, and then it goes down, and it goes down here. Because these are dark eyes, I'm going to go deeper. I'm going to actually remove the clay inside the iris. and maybe leave a little triangle of clay to give some highlight. Here I'm going to change the expression a little bit by lowering the eyelids on each side. And I'm going to push each side of the eyebrow toward the center and a little bit lower. This is a different method of sculpting the mouth. I'm going to use a wood carving gouge to get the shape of the lips. First, I go halfway between the nose and the chin and I draw the parting line of the lips. Then I come back with my tool and deepen the corners. Here the philtrum a little bit deeper, and then I can refine the contour of the mouth on the bottom and the top. The bottom lip is separated in two volumes and the upper lip in 3 volumes. I never work too long on one spot. I will work a little bit on the mouth, then start the eyes, then work on the nose. I try to not focus too long on one spot because then you get lost and overwork it. Shape the contour of the orbicularis oris. With the handle of the brush, I'm going to form a rim around the lips. Upper lip, same thing. I'm going from up here, going down. So instead of adding this volume here, I'm pulling it out of the clay I have. No matter what ethnicity, gender, or age you're working on, there is a view that is very important to check from time to time, and it's from underneath. From here you can see the barrel of the mouth and how it goes very round like this, the shape of the maxilla. People have a tendency to make the mouth too flat. This is one way to prevent that, is to look at it from underneath. In this particular case, I'm adding volume that will include the upper eyelid, the lower eyelid, the eye, and the bag under the eye. So it requires a little bit more clay, and I'm pulling it down here to the edge of the orbital cavity. So I have the volume I need here. My model has eyes that are protruding a little bit more than the Caucasian man we're sculpting. So here I'm going to push the eye, make sure that I have the eyeball established. Don't forget that an eyeball is about 24 millimeters in diameter. It's about an inch. So you can't have it too wide here. It has to be around this way, around that way. Now I'm going to move this down. To include my lower eyelid. And on the top, I'm going to remove the excess clay. But I'm going to leave enough to have a bigger eyelid. These eyes are sculpted as if the model looks straightforward. Now I want to change that by having him look on the side. To do that, I will have to change not only where the iris is, but the shape of the eyelid, the upper and lower eyelid. So I'm going to change the position of the iris, move it to the side like this. First, I'm doing the iris. And then I will modify the shape of the eyelid. I have to bring this eyelid with a flatter curve here and a sharper curve in the corner, because the volume of the cornea changes the shape of the eyelid. So on this side it's the opposite. The part closer to the nose is more slanted, and this side is more round where the cornea is. It is important to understand the